there, everyone. This is Carol Freeman, the creator of the 90-Day Keto Diet Program. I'm here with...
Kayla, the intern.
Yeah, and we're here today. We're going to taste test animal fat. We're doing duck fat, chicken schmaltz, ghee, and some beef tallow. Now, unlike the mayo taste test, where we just ate it straight out of the jar, or the butter taste test, I've actually put the animal fat into some little keto-friendly almond buns that are really yummy. So we've made a batch of each of those with the different types of fat.
We're not going to just take spoonfuls of duck fat today, unfortunately.
Although it might be delicious, but the main reason I decided that is because the beef tallow ends up being so solid and firm at room temperature, I couldn't figure out how. I guess we could have scraped some off with a spoon or something like that. So, all right, so let's get started. Which one would you like to start with?
How about the duck fat one?
Okay, so the duck fat is pretty awesome. This is Epic. What do they call themselves? Just Epic, the brand. So they started out making some meat bars, and we're going to taste some of those later. But like a true protein bar that's actually made of meat and not some like processed
no whey protein.
Yeah, no whey protein or anything. It's actually made from just real meat. So that's what they started their line as, and they've got these really cool animal fat products now. So duck fat, they have a beef tallow, they also have a lard, and so I've got the duck fat one. The company is really cool. So I picked one up a few months ago in Portland, and there was an issue with it, and so the company replaced it, no problems. And then they also sent me this really cool swag that I wanted to show off. So they sent me a sticker
for your car. You could put it on there.
Maybe. Do you want it for your car? And
I've got a few stickers on the back of my car.
This one might be hard to see. Is this some kind of... Oh, this is probably a shirt decal, actually, isn't it? Because it's fuzzy.
Oh.
Can you kind of see that? I should totally do an iron transfer. I think that's what that is. And they sent me also...
Looks like a passport.
Yeah, like a little cool little little notepad. And a cool little button. Whoop, 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 whoop. Epic Provision. So a pretty cool company. And so go try their products.
And that's on your how to start your 90-day keto program, right?
Oh yeah, the products. I've got a link to their different types of fats on my products tab on my hypnoticnutrition.com. But I'll link that below. All right, so this is cage-free duck fat, time-honored oil. Let's see anything else that they say about it. Probably most people recognize.
It's handcrafted.
It's handcrafted. Interestingly, I found that this one at room temperature, so I'm here in the Northwest, and it's been between like 60 and 70 the last few days, and it's been liquid at room temperature. I was really surprised that it wasn't solid. I'd recommend keeping it refrigerated after it's opened. It does say it has a high smoke point, so one of the common things about all these animal fats is they have a pretty good amount of saturated fat in it. Now, don't be afraid of saturated fat. We've been told some lies for a very long time that saturated fat is the fat we've eaten forever, basically. And so saturated fat is very healthful for us. Also, it tends to have a very high smoke point, so you can cook it at high temperatures and saute in it, and it will typically not go bad very easily. All right, so our duck fat buns here. Are you ready?
I'm ready. I've been waiting for these all afternoon.
Okay. So I'll link the recipe. I have a little sandwich maker that I make these in, and I'll link the recipe for them in the comments below. But they're all the same recipe except they're different type of fat that's in them. All right, so what do we notice about the smell?
Just
Smells like almonds
oh,
and fat.
strange.
Oh my gosh, I'm going to want to eat all of these though, but we've got 4 to try.
Gotta take small bites.
I get the fat flavor like at the end of it.
Yeah, definitely. It didn't have a whole lot of flavor initially.
Yeah. Well, the bun recipe, you can add like garlic or onion powder, any kind of seasonings you want. I made them plain so that we could actually just taste the fat, but so they're going to taste fairly plain.
No, definitely finishes strong though.
Strong meaning
Tasty.
Okay, I was like, not flavorful? Yeah, these delicious. I mean, we could compare the texture there. It's light and fluffy. The nice thing about these fats that I use, they all have nice browning on the bottom, so they got a nice crispy bottom there.
They're not fall aparty at all.
Not fall aparty.
That's the technical term.
Yes, that's what when we learned about cooking, not fall aparty.
You could use it as a bun if you wanted to have a sandwich or anything.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like it's very, very stick togethery. Yeah, I think it tastes delicious. Like I'm trying to think of. Most people probably would have a comparison of maybe like olive oil and biscuits or butter or something like that. And I can't think of how I compare it to that. But I think
if I didn't know it was duck fat, I would have thought they were just really buttery and had a lot of fat in them, were flavorful.
I think they're very pleasant tasting. There isn't anything about it that's like, I don't get any descriptive words, but delicious. How about that?
Trying not to eat the rest.
Saving room. All right, so should we put these back so we don't confuse them, or put it on top? Let's see. Okay, so we're gonna try the ghee buns next, huh?
Yeah, sounds great.
Mind my fingers.
Yeah, we've got all each other's germs.
All right, so ghee. You may not have heard of ghee before, but ghee, you might have heard it as clarified butter. Oh, wait, let me talk about the kind we're trying here. So we've got Organic Valley, Purity Farms ghee, and it's also known as clarified butter. So ghee is pure dairy fat. So most people think of butter being pure dairy fat, but butter has a little bit of dairy proteins left in it, so that's why it's more of a opaque color. Ghee is actually, you heat the butter and you take off the solids, which are the proteins that are in there, and then what you're left with is this clarified butter or ghee, which is pure dairy fat, as opposed to tallow, which is the fat that's in the muscles. And
so your ghee is liquid at room temperature too. Or did you just melt it?
I did melt it, so I had to melt it so that I could put it into the buns. This one is a soft solid at room temperature. So once it firms up, it's going to be a soft solid. It's a little firmer than butter, though, at room temperature. And what else is special about this? So this comes from organic milk and...
Non-GMO?
Always non-GMO, since it's organic, right. So... So people that have a milk allergy, they would do better with ghee than they would trying to use butter.
No casein, no whey in there.
Exactly. And it is less of a buttery flavor. It's more of a neutral flavor.
Okay.
And then because it has those protein solids removed from it, it has a higher smoke point, because what actually burns in butter is the protein parts in there.
Oh, cool.
So you can use it for higher temperatures. But let's see how it tastes in these almond buns.
It smells almondy.
I think I like this. To me, I like the taste of this better than the duck fat one.
It's slightly more moist.
Yeah.
They look the same.
Yeah, texture-wise,
Both
they look about the same.
Have that nice crispy brown on the outside.
To me, that's very pleasant. There aren't really strong flavor differences, but to me, this does remind me more. It's a more buttery flavor, I would say. Yum.
I just want to keep eating it.
And so how does ghee compare for saturated fat and all the fat types are in there?
So of the 4 fats we're tasting, ghee actually has the highest percentage of saturated fat at 66%, so it's more than half saturated fat. And then the rest is mostly monounsaturated fat, about 30%, and then only trace amounts of polyunsaturated fat. So it has a lot of those good fats in it too.
All right. Maybe that's more pleasing on my tongue there. Interestingly, based on how solid these were at room temperature, so I melted them all before I put them in the bun recipe. It was just much easier to incorporate them in. And the tallow was the most difficult. Like, it very quickly wanted to go back to a solid. And the way that I heated them, I didn't do them in the microwave. I just put them in a pot of water on the stove and then turned it up to low, way up to low. And then as they melted, so the duck fat was the easiest to melt, then the ghee, the chicken schmaltz next, and the tallow was the most difficult. And it was also the most difficult to keep liquid. And so that would be a challenge because at room temperature it was very solid. And so using this one in recipes might be a challenge. It's going to take something that's a higher heat in order for it to incorporate very easily. I wouldn't recommend just, I don't know, trying to spread it on a sandwich or something like that. All right, so do you want to try the chicken schmaltz then?
Sure, I'm looking forward to it.
This is something that a lot of people maybe haven't even heard of. But let me get my... This is Schmaltz, all natural chicken fat. So the way that you could make this is if you're roasting or boiling a chicken, you can get the drippings off the side and just catch those and let them solidify. This is from a little place down in Portland called Salt, Fire, and Thyme, and it's handmade there. So this was rendered on... Oh, that's just telling me the date when it was...
Like, wait.
It's Best Buy. I'm like, wait, that time hasn't even come yet.
That's tomorrow.
Right, so this is handmade in Portland. Chicken schmaltz, Salt, Fire, and Thyme is the company that is. They have a little bone broth bar that was quite delicious. So
they know what they're about.
Yeah. All right, so...
Thank you. This one seems denser almost.
Does it smell lemony?
Lemony?
So let's see if it reminds you of Sunday chicken dinner. It's a very subtle difference.
Yeah, I think of the three, this one has the least flavor, but it's the most distinct. Does that make sense?
No.
Like, it's, like I can taste chicken in it a little bit.
Yeah, it does take
Like, it's not just buttery, but it has a really subtle chicken flavor.
If I wouldn't have known it was chicken, there's no way I would have guessed it. But knowing it's chicken, it kind of tastes like chicken. Wait, that's what they say about everything. Like, it tastes like chicken.
It definitely is more dense than the other ones.
Okay.
So
And as I was mixing up
heftier.
the batter, yeah, it wanted to clump more, so it wanted to turn back to a solid while I was making it, and so I think that tends to make little pockets of the fat in there rather than evenly distributed.
Quite tasty.
I'd eat it. It does. So it does taste to me much more savory than the ghee one. The ghee one makes me think of like a dessert type thing, whereas the chicken one tastes like it could make chicken biscuits.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Chicken biscuits made with real chicken.
Now with real chicken. So the final one doesn't even have a label on the container because it too was made by that little place in Portland, Salt, Fire, and Thyme.
You'll just have to trust us.
Yeah. So this was the little label that's on there. And Carmen Ranch beef tallow. And this is my first time trying beef tallow. Actually, it's my first time trying chicken schmaltz, too. And this, again, was the most solid. It's already very hard. All right.
The last biscuit.
The only one I didn't touch, sorry. All right. It feels firmer.
So chicken schmaltz you can make yourself, but beef tallow is from the fat, like the suet of the cow, so like the fat surrounding the organs, like the kidneys. So it might be a little bit more complicated to make at home.
Well, when you make bone broth, you get a little bit of it that shows up at the top there. Yeah. Oh, it smells beefy.
Wow, it really does, though. It doesn't taste quite so beefy to me.
Really? For all of them, this one actually tastes the strongest, but it definitely, like, it has that, like, beef stew type flavor to it.
Maybe my palate is corrupted by the ones we already ate.
It seemed to have, I don't know what it, like, a sturdier mouthfeel. Like, I almost feel like it's crunching in my mouth, but it's not.
Yeah, it's a little bit, like, more chewy, but not in a pleasant way.
Yeah.
The chicken one definitely kind of fell apart a little more.
I think I have a favorite.
Oh, yeah?
The beef tallow, I think is my favorite. How about you?
I think the clarified butter one was my favorite, the ghee.
That one was delicious, yes.
Can't go wrong with a buttery biscuit.
Yeah. Right. Nothing wrong with that. All right, so how does the beef tallow then compare fat-wise? What's the makeup of the fat there?
Right. Beef tallow is about almost half and half saturated fat to monounsaturated fat.
Nice.
Oh,
all right.
Did we talk about the chicken?
No.
The chicken Schmaltz has the least amount of saturated fat. It's about 30%, and then it's almost 50% monounsaturated fat and 20% polyunsaturated fat.
All right. Well, cool. Well, that was quite delicious. Animal fat. We've been wanting to taste that for quite a while. But if you like this video, give us a thumbs up. Subscribe if you want to see some more. We've got more coming. All right. Well, that's all for now.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.